So first is what to produce, second is how to produce, and third is for whom to produce. What to you I gave you an example of your mother, right? Like for example, it's your home. I gave you the example. No?
Yeah, ma'am. Like what to cook
Yeah,
and then
what
how
to
to cook.
cook,
Yeah.
for whom to cook, and like that. So first is
Yeah,
what
the
to
thing.
produce. Yeah. So first is what to produce and in what quantity. Why quantity I have mentioned here? Because for example, you said pizza and your brother and father said, I want to eat burger. So basically I have to prepare one pizza and two burgers, right? So quantity is also matter, like how much, right? So what to produce and in what quantity, right? So first, now we have three problems. So first we will understand the alternative names. See, everyone have their nickname, right? So first we'll understand what is also known as, like, what is the other name of this problem, right? So what to produce and in what quantity. This is also called the problem of allocation of resources. Now, ma'am, what is allocation? So for example, this is your home, okay? And this is kitchen, this is your bedroom, this is your drawing room, this is your guest room, and this is your main hall, okay? You bought a refrigerator, right? You bought the refrigerator, the person came and he dropped it over here, okay? Now what you are going to do, you are going to put this in your bedroom? No. In kitchen? Yes, you are going to put it in your kitchen, not in your washroom, not in your drawing room. You are going to put the refrigerator in your kitchen, right? So what you are doing, you are basically locating it, right? That okay, my refrigerator will be in my kitchen, or my, for example, you bought a new bed, so it will be not in your kitchen, it will be in your bedroom, right? So basically, this what to produce is, this is also called the problem of allocation. This word came from location, right? Allocation of resources. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first you have to remember, in exam hall, they may ask you, explain the problem of allocation of resources. So at that moment, maybe they won't be asking you what to produce. They are asking you the other name. So you have to you have to learn other name as well as the exact name. Okay. This is also
Okay.
called the problem of allocation of resources. Then, now ma'am, what is this? It is related to selection of good. This problem is related to selection of good. Why you have to select good? Because as all goods cannot be produced because resources are limited. For example, this is a piece of wood, right? With this piece of wood, you can produce paper, you can produce bed, you can produce chair, you can produce table, right? But this is only one piece of wood. So you have to make a choice what you need to produce, right? Whether you want to produce paper, whether you want to produce bed, whether you want to produce this, whether you want to produce that. Okay. Why? Because you have very limited resources. That's why you have to make a choice, right? So it is related to the selection of goods. Why you have to select good? Because as all goods cannot be produced because resources are limited, right? Therefore, a choice has to
Yes,
be
ma'am.
made in order to decide what good has to be produced. Therefore, you have to make a choice that what good you need to produce, right? And after the decision has been taken on types of good, like after you made a decision that okay, I need to produce bed, then you have to decide the quantity, like one bed, two bed, three bed, four bed, right? Quantities of these goods should be decided because resources are limited, right? Clear? So this is the problem of,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, this is the problem what to produce. So we'll just again recap it. Ma'am, this is also called the problem of allocation of resources. First, you have to learn exactly, right? This is also called the problem of allocation of resources. Now, why you have to locate resources, right? Why you have to choose the resources? So it is related to selection of goods. As all goods cannot be produced because resources are limited, therefore a choice has to be made in order to decide what good has to be produced, right? After a decision has been taken on types of good, quantities of these goods should be decided, like the number of goods should be decided because resources are limited. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, example. See, in exam hall, if you are getting the question like explain the problem of what to produce, and right, then you are going to write this plus the example. Okay, but if in exam hall you are getting explain central problem of an economy, you don't have to include example because you have to explain three problems. That would be enough. But yeah, in case you are getting the single question that explain only this problem, then you have to include example as well. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, basically, what I told you, you have to make a choice whether you want to produce this or that. So, basically, choice between consumption good. Consumption good is basically which consumer will eat or use, wheat and clothes. Okay. And capital goods. So, capital goods are basically machine, tools, etc. Clear? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Capital goods are basically those goods which help in production of other goods. For example, you bought printing machine, right? This is printing machine. So this machine will be helping you to print books, right? So these goods are known as capital good because they are helping in process of other good, helping in making other good. But for example, you bought wheat, you will be eating that. You bought clothes, you will be wearing it. You are not going to use it for some other production. So there are two good, consumer good and capital goods. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And next one is choice B. Now you must be wondering, ma'am, what is this BW? Right? This is between. Okay. Okay. This is
Okay,
between.
ma'am.
This is a short form, so you can write between like this. So next is civil goods and military good. You can write. I have written eat goods. Sorry, military goods. So civil goods are basically which normal people use, like watch, shoes, like this. But military goods are basically guns, fighter, aircraft, and all that. Right? So you have to make a choice whether you are going to produce things for normal people like the civil goods, or you are going to make things for the defense one or the military goods like the guns, fighter aircraft, and all that. Okay, therefore you have to make a choice like whether you want to produce this, like what to produce. Whether you want to produce consumption good or capital good, whether you want to produce civil goods or military good. Clear?
Yeah, ma'am.
So you can write it down and after that we'll start. Just let me know, I'll scroll it down. Just write central
Okay.
problems of an economy. First this and then the explanation, then the exam.
Okay,
Let
ma'am.
me know when I have to scroll it down.
Ma'am, please scroll it. Done, ma'am.
Okay. Now we'll be doing the second problem, okay, which is how to produce. Okay. So now, ma'am, how to produce? So how to produce? This is also called the problem of choice of technique, right? So for example, you need to like if I'll ask you whether you want how you're going to make pizza. So there are various techniques, right? Maybe you'll be using you are going to make veggie pizza, you are going to make paneer pizza, anything, right? So basically there are various techniques for this. So this is also called the problem of choice of technique. So basically you have to make a choice between technique of production, right? Which technique you are going to use for making this pizza, right? So there are basically only two techniques. One is labor intensive technique and second one is capital. Capital is basically machine or all that. Okay. So labor intensive technique, it uses more of labor. Intensive is basically, you know, this deep, right? So labor intensive means you are using more of labor and less of capital, means more labor you are using but machines you are using less. Okay. Next one is capital intensive technique. It means you are using more of capital, like more of machine and less of labor. Is there a background noise from my end? Yes.
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Because you know, something is happening, construction work and all that. So I thought that maybe background music.
No, ma'am. It's no sound from background.
Okay, okay. So basically, okay, now how to produce? What is the other name of this problem? The name is problem of choice of technique of production. Okay, which technique you are going to use? Basically, there are two techniques. One is labor intensive and other one is capital intensive technique. Okay, so labor intensive, you are going to use more of labor and less of capital. Means more of labor and less of machines. Similarly, capital intensive using more of machine and less of labor. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what you have to do, a choice has to be made whether to use labor intensive technique or capital intensive technique or the combination of both. And your main goal is you want to produce maximum, right? So you have to make a choice that whether you are going to use labor intensive technique or capital intensive or the combination of both. Clear? But your main aim should be that you want to produce maximum. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, for example, to produce a wheat, Land may be cultivated with large amount of labor and less machine. So if you want to produce wheat, land you can cultivate land with large amount of labor and less of machine, right? That you are using, for example, this is your land, you are using 20 labors and one machine, right? So more of labor and less of machine. Similarly, if you want to cultivate this land, you can use 5 machines and 2 labors. You can use it, right? But therefore you have to, you have to decide whether you're going to use this combination or this combination, right? So therefore, the problem to decide which method is best for production, that's the problem arises. And once the problem arises, it becomes the economic problem. And this problem is known as problem of choice of technique. And also this problem is known as problem of how to produce. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you're going to write it.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, can you scroll it down, please?
बेचारा धीरज, इन्होंने इसके अंदर ना कुछ डाल ही दिया।
What, ma'am? Ma'am, did you say something?
No, no, no. No, no, I didn't say anything. You can continue.
Okay, ma'am, I'm almost done.
Okay, okay. I think I have some mic issue. It's understand what's happening.
Ma'am, I'm done.
Okay, let's just start with third. Okay. Okay, so third one we are going to do. So, ma'am, third one is for whom to produce. Okay, now you have decided everything. Like first you decided what to produce, then you decided how you are going to produce it. Now for whom you are going to produce it, right? So this is also called the problem of distribution of national income among the factor of production. See, for example, you produces something, right? And after that, what will happen? What will happen? Of course, I don't understand. Okay, so once you are done with the things, what will happen? Just give me 1 minute. I think my screen. Okay. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so for whom to produce. Okay, so once you are done with everything, after you produce something, you will share that thing. For example, you produces 4 chocolates, right? 4 chocolates you produces. So now after producing 4 chocolates, you will be selling those chocolates, right? And whatever money they will be giving you, right? So you will be distributing it like those who help you in the production, right? So basically you are going to distribute the national income among the factor of production, right? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
ma'am.
now, yeah, this problem deals with determining the final consumer. Now, for whom to produce means like who is going to consume it. So this problem deals with determining the final consumer of good produce. As resources are scarce in an economy, it becomes difficult to cater all the section of society. Now there are rich people, there are poor people, there are middle class people, right? So for example, if I'm producing bed is of different type, right? Luxurious bed, simple bed, and all that, right? So basically, you have to make a choice whether you want to produce for rich people or poor people or for middle class people. Clear? So you have to choose the consumer. This problem deals with determining the final consumer of the good produce, as resources are scarce in resources, right? So scarce in resources means they are very limited in resources. It becomes difficult to cater all the sections. So we have very limited resources. So we cannot produce for each and every section, right? We have to select the section of the society. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, see, for an example, essential goods and services are in demand for all section of society. Essential goods are basically like, for example, fan, you can say medicines, water, food. These, whether you are rich, whether you are poor, all the section of society needs this, right? But only certain section of society have demand for luxury commodity. Only few people demands for luxury commodity, right? So at the same time, choices of goods and services rest on prevalent taste and preference is an economy, right? So basically, you have to make choice of goods and services rest on the prevalent. Prevalence means ongoing taste and preferences in an economy. So see, there are essential goods which are demanded by each and everyone. So you are going to make it for everyone. But there are few commodities, for example, AC. AC, normal people don't consume it, right? They don't use it. But yes, luxury people, they consume it, right? So therefore, you have to make a choice whether you want to produce for rich people, like you want to produce, for example, I said I want to produce cooling thing. So you can produce AC, you can produce fan, you can produce cooler, right? So you have to decide whether you're going to produce AC, fan, or cooler. Okay, if you're producing AC, that means you're producing it for rich section. If you're producing fan, then for middle class. And if for this, that means you are going to produce it for the normal people, the poor people. Clear? The
Yes,
fan,
ma'am.
poor people, and the cooler, middle class, and AC for the rich people. Okay, so that's why the problem is for whom to produce. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can write it down. Jenna, write it down. I'm scrolling it down. Okay, I'm just coming in 1 minute. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Done, ma'am.
Done, Jenna?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what's wrong with my mic getting unmuted and muted. Okay. So basically we are done with good portion of this, right? So from tomorrow onwards, we'll
Yes,
start
ma'am.
with the other portion. But today,
Okay.
as I'll give you a hint what we are going to study in 12. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Till then you can revise, okay? I'm just sharing my screen. You have written
Okay,
the
ma'am.
syllabus of 12th class? No, na?
No.
Okay, okay. So we'll just complete it today. Just make two separate notebooks, one for 12th and one for 11th, okay?
What, ma'am? Can you repeat it again?
Yeah, just make two separate notebooks, one for 12th and one for 11th, okay?
Oh, okay, ma'am.
Okay, Janab. I think you can see my screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, now coming to the 12th portion, now what we are going to study in 12th class. So basically we have two books in 12th class. One is Introductory Macroeconomics and one is Indian Economic Development. Okay. One is basically based on like your numericals, your theory and concept, and next is based on totally on your theory portion. Okay. So, introductory macroeconomics. Now, ma'am, what is macroeconomics? And this is what we are going to study. First, we are going to study about national income and related aggregate. So, ma'am, what is national income? National income is basically whatever the country is earning, right? So, nation is earning this national income and related aggregates, right? Related to that, we'll be studying like how you're going to calculate it, all that. So, that will be for 10 marks. Next is money and banking, which is for 6 marks. Okay, money and banking, you'll be studying what is money, what are types of money, what is bank, what are types of bank, how bank control credit and all that. So everything we'll be studying in second unit, which is for 6 marks. Okay. Next is determination of income and employment. Like what should be the income, what should be the employment, everything we'll be doing like in relation to supply and demand. That will be for 12 marks. Okay. Next, we'll be doing government budget and the economy. Government budget and the economy means, see, when, for example, it's your birthday today. So you'll be making a budget, right? That, ma'am, I'm going to spend my money over here, I'm going to spend my money over there, right? So similarly, government also prepare a budget in order to run a country. So they'll be studying what is government budget and the economy, which will be for 6 marks. Next, we'll be doing BOP, which is balance of payment. See, balance is very much important in everything, right? So of course, whether you are importing or exporting, balance is important. That's why balance of payment, which will be for 6 months. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Now, Indian economic development, we have 3 units. First is development experience 1947 to 1990 and the economic reform. So, development experience, we are going to study. See, India was under British rule, right? So, we are going to, and the Britishers treated India in such a bad way that we need to explore it, right? After we got independence, we'll study what was the condition of India before Britishers and when we got independence at that moment, and after that, how we started developing. So, this is for 12 marks. Then current challenges. What are the challenges right now Indian economy is facing? That is going to be for 20 marks. Next is development experience of India. Once you develop, there is a comparison, right? That you will be, for example, you are doing good, there will be a comparison that your sister got 96, you are getting 98, your brother got this, your cousin got this, your neighbor, your friends, like this. So also there was a development experience of India, and we will be comparing India with the neighbors like China, Bhutan, Nepal. We'll be comparing what's the growth of India is and what is the growth of other countries. So we'll be doing the comparison, which is for 8 marks. So in total 40 and 40 both, and 20 marks will be your assignment. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So quickly, I'm just giving you 5 minutes. Just write it down in your new notebook. Economics, 12th class, part like book 1, Introductory Macroeconomics, Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, Unit 5, the marks, and your book 2, 1, 2, 3, 3 units, the marks. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, can I ask you one question?
Yes, Jana?
Um,
Done? You're done?
yeah, ma'am. I'm
Okay.
going to ask that are these trial classes going on or like regular?
Janab, this you have to confirm it with your counselor. I'm not sure about it. Okay. So you can
Oh, okay,
confirm
ma'am.
it. Yeah, you can just drop a text to your counselor. They'll just confirm it. Right?
Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
So you are writing it, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm done, ma'am.